Hi guys, good to see you again. How are you? So, in the last lessons, we've looked at all the language that you need to describe your graphs at IELTS Writing Task 1. Today is the first example question that we're going to work through. Okay, so today we're going to be answering an actual IELTS question from a past paper. Well, first of all, we're going to look at the questions and the graphs and look at how to identify the important things to talk about. Okay? When we've identified those things, we're going to look at paragraphing. Okay? We'll talk about why paragraphing is important, and we'll look at the individual paragraphs that you will have to write to describe the graphs that you see. Okay, so the individual paragraphs we'll look at are the introduction. Okay, I'll show you how to write this introduction by paraphrasing or using different ways of expressing certain ideas. Then we will look at the first diagram, the first graph. In this case, in this lesson, it's a bar chart. And we will look at how we're going to describe the important features of this bar chart. Then the second graph, which in this case is a line graph. We're going to look at the important features of this line graph that we're going to do today and how to describe those as well. And then we'll put all of those paragraphs together and you will see an example of the final essay that you will submit at the end of your exam. Okay? So, let's get started. So first of all, understanding the question and the graphs. Let's take a look at our question. Here we have the text of the question. Okay? As normal, we have the first instruction telling you to spend about 20 minutes on this task. Now, I've talked about spending 20 minutes before, okay, in order to give you enough time to do the second task in the IELTS exam. Okay? Below this instruction, we have got the actual question. Okay? So, the two sentences you can see in italics. One sentence is describing the first graph and the second sentence is describing the second graph. For this question, you've got the bar chart below. The chart below shows the amount of money spent per week on fast foods in Britain. Okay, so you're going to learn about the amounts of certain groups of fast food that we eat in Britain. More than that, you're going to see what types of people buy what types of food in what amounts. Okay, and then it says the second sentence is the graph shows the trends in consumption of fast foods. Basically, trends, as you know, is something changing over time, something developing over time. So we're going to look at how the consumption, the purchase of these fast foods changes over time. Okay? And you've got another instruction here, writing a report for a university lecturer describing the information shown below in the graphs. Okay, so that's our instruction. Remember, we talked about this before. This tells us who we are writing to, and it tells us what kind of formal or informal language we're going to use. In this case, obviously, because it's a report, it's going to be formal. And then finally, the last instruction, you should write at least 150 words. Again, I've talked about this in previous lessons. So, below the question, you get the graphs. Now, here are the graphs in small format, okay? We're going to look at these graphs right now in larger format, okay? So, let's take a look at the bar chart now. Here we have the bar chart, okay? Take a look at the elements of this bar chart. The first thing to notice is we have on the left-hand side our y-axis. What does this y-axis represent? Well, if you look at the numbers, it goes from 0 up to 50 in increments of 5. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and so on. And this is the amount of money. The amount of money is measured in pence. Okay, so 5 pence, 10 pence, 20 pence, etc. And this amount of money is spent every week, okay, and that's the information we can see in the y-axis. Okay, the next part of the graph is here, and as you've learned before, this is the key or the legend, and it tells you which food